It's the final Bleach of 2012, and boy did it suck. So Bleach Chapter 522, love it, came out today, and I was hoping after last week's chapter we get something better and not Kubo trying to be funny and failing. We got more of the same. So Ichigo and Renji arrive at Uetsu's palace and are greeted in an over-the-top fashion. We see tons of ladies in his palace, and this is the only time where I genuinely laughed at this chapter when Ichigo says, I'm sure it's going to turn out that they're all guys. So many more pages are wasted with Uetsu greeting them, giving them high fives, and making them pose. What? After all that nonsense, they're taken to the real place they need to train, which is a shitty shack on the edge of a cliff, but the inside drops Ichigo and Renji into a pit. Uetsu reveals that all of his women are actually Zanpakuto, and he proceeds to smash Zabimaru and Tensuzangetsu into pieces, because they're not loved. Ugh. Ichigo and Renji must defeat whatever lurks in the pit if they're ever to have their Zanpakuto reforged. So yeah, I actually kinda sorta hated this chapter. 90% of it is Kubo doing what he did with last week's chapter and trying to be funny. I love Bleach, but comedy is not one of its strong points. I very rarely do find myself laughing at a joke. As I said earlier, there was like one line from Ichigo that got me to smirk while reading. That's about it. It started to get really interesting at the end. Both of their Zanpakutos are now completely destroyed, so I don't know how they're going to beat whatever the hell's in that pit. But before we got our first whiff of action in a long time, chapter's over. As I said before, I love Bleach, but this is the second chapter in a row where really nothing happened. I was hoping for a more serious chapter today, and we clearly didn't get it, and now we'll have to wait 2 to 3 weeks for the next one to come out, so awesome. I'm curious as to what's going to happen next, but this chapter just did not do it for me. Overall, some failed humor leads to an interesting ending that leaves us on a 3-week cliffhanger. For my question of the week, how do you think Ichigo and Renji will beat whatever's in that pit? Has Renji gotten the hang of Kido yet, or will Ichigo possibly ask his Hollow for help? For those who actually give a shit, I apologize for skipping the last 2 chapters. I actually wanted to review 520, but I had finals to study for, and there was no way to make time for a review. And I just flat out said fuck reviewing 521, because every reviewer had the same thing to say about how it was just about eating. But if you want, you can go check out my DeviantArt channel for my written review on that one. That is it for this week. Please remember to leave your thoughts on the chapter and answers to the weekly question in the comments below. Perhaps you actually enjoyed this chapter. If so, I'd like you to state your case. Like and subscribe for more weekly Bleach chapter reviews, and I'll be back whenever the hell they decide to release chapter 523. Peace.